On a bright, calm Saturday afternoon, in the bustling parking area outside Market Street Grocers in Maplewood, Sheila Dunn and her 13-year-old son Leo were finishing up their weekly shopping trip. Sheila, a compassionate yet resolute woman in her late 30s, had moved to Maplewood a few years back, carving out a quiet, unobtrusive life. Known for her patience and warm demeanor, she never imagined she'd face anything unusual on a routine day like this. As they loaded bags into their car, a patrol car pulled up beside them. Out stepped Officer Todd Harling, a seasoned police officer with a sour reputation. Todd was known around town for often making life difficult for those he deemed out of place. He approached with a frown and an air of authority. "Ma'am, what exactly are you up to here?" His voice was sharp and dismissive. Surprised, Sheila responded politely, gesturing to the groceries. "Just wrapping up some shopping," she said, attempting to defuse the tension. But Officer Todd wasn't satisfied. "I'll need to see your ID," he demanded abruptly. "You look suspicious." Sheila, sensing her son's unease, maintained her calm. "We're simply doing errands, officer. There's no trouble here." But Todd's face darkened, his tone intensifying. Without waiting, he grabbed Sheila's arm, his grip uncomfortably tight. "I said, show me your ID." Seeing his mother being mistreated, Leo quickly pulled out his phone and started recording, his hands trembling with fear but determination. Sheila noticed but didn't stop him. She understood that documenting the situation might be necessary. People nearby began to notice the commotion, some starting to record as well. Todd, clearly uncomfortable under the growing attention, gripped Sheila's arm harder. "Stop resisting," he shouted, though she hadn't shown any signs of resisting. What Todd didn't realize was that Sheila, though calm and gentle, had been training in judo for years, her body strong and her mind resilient. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. "Let go of me, please," she said firmly but evenly. This only fueled Todd's temper. People like you never know when to keep quiet. His words were meant to cut deep, but Sheila remained centered. When he attempted to restrain her further, she twisted her arm expertly out of his grip. Todd staggered back, momentarily stunned by her unexpected agility. The onlookers murmured, drawn in by the unfolding confrontation, their phones still recording. Humiliated, Todd charged at Sheila, assuming he could overpower her. But she had anticipated his move, sidestepping gracefully and redirecting him to stumble past her. Caught off guard, Todd's frustration was clear. "You'll regret this," he spat, his voice now tinged with both anger and desperation. Sheila kept her voice level. "I'm only defending myself, officer. Please stand down." Ignoring her, Todd reached for his baton, raising it in a threatening manner. A ripple of shock passed through the crowd, and Leo, holding his phone tightly, looked at his mother, worried and hopeful. When Todd swung, Sheila swiftly evaded, using a judo move to trip him, causing him to tumble to the ground. He scrambled up, livid but unsteady, attempting another strike. Sheila skillfully deflected each move, her movements smooth and practiced. Every swing he took left him more off balance and visibly embarrassed. The crowd watched in disbelief as Sheila countered each attack with measured precision, some even cheering quietly, moved by her calm resilience. Sheila's stance was clear. She wanted no fight, but would defend herself if necessary. Realizing he was outmatched, Todd's demeanor shifted from anger to alarm, but it was too late. In one final move, Sheila disarmed him of his baton, tossing it safely out of reach. Todd lay on the ground, bewildered and defeated. Silence settled over the crowd. Leo stopped recording, relief flooding over him. Sheila stood calmly, her breathing steady, looking down at Todd without a hint of malice, only quiet strength. "Are you done now?" she asked firmly. Todd had no response, unable to meet her gaze. Moments later, another police car pulled into the lot. Officers emerged, surveying the scene with wide eyes. One officer, Lieutenant Marks, approached Sheila cautiously. "Ma'am, could you tell me what happened here?" Sheila recounted the events clearly and calmly, supported by nods from the crowd and videos on multiple phones. Leo showed Lieutenant Marks his recording, which documented the entire exchange, showing Todd's aggressive behavior and Sheila's calm self-defense. After reviewing the footage, Lieutenant Marks turned to Todd, who was now sitting up, visibly humiliated. "Officer Harling, I'll be taking you in for review," Marks stated, a serious tone in his voice. Todd's face fell as he was led to a patrol car, his career suddenly uncertain. As the crowd dispersed, a few people approached Sheila, expressing their gratitude for her courage and poise. Leo hugged his mother tightly, relief and pride visible in his eyes. Over the following days, news of Sheila's bravery spread through Maplewood, a story of resilience and strength in the face of unjust aggression. Sheila became a quiet symbol of standing up for oneself, her story resonating with everyone who heard it. As for Todd, an internal review followed, and his position was left uncertain. Sheila continued her life, not seeking attention, but quietly proud of the example she'd set for Leo and others who might face adversity. In the weeks that followed, Sheila's life returned to a quiet normalcy, but the impact of her stand reached far beyond the events of that afternoon in the parking lot. The townspeople of Maplewood couldn't stop talking about her courage. Those who had witnessed the incident, whether in person or through the viral videos circulating on social media, saw Sheila as an embodiment of strength and integrity. She hadn't sought attention or acted out of anger. She'd simply done what she felt was necessary to protect herself and her son from a situation spiraling out of control. As Sheila went about her daily life, she began receiving letters and messages from people in Maplewood and beyond, people who felt inspired by her story and the calm dignity with which she'd stood up to injustice. The quiet, reserved woman they had known was now seen in a new light. Community members, especially parents, approached her, thanking her for setting a positive example for their children. Her story had given them hope and reminded them that everyone, no matter their circumstances, has the right to stand up for their dignity. The local community center invited Sheila to share her experience with young people in Maplewood. She was hesitant at first, never one to enjoy the spotlight, but she eventually agreed, thinking of the many young faces in the crowd who might one day need a reminder that strength could be found in gentleness and resilience. Standing before a room of curious, attentive kids, Sheila shared not just the story of the parking lot confrontation, but the values that had guided her that day. She spoke of the importance of staying calm under pressure, of trusting one's instincts, and above all, of treating others with respect, even when respect isn't returned. She told them that, though defending oneself is sometimes necessary, compassion should be the first response whenever possible. For Leo, his mother's strength left an indelible impression. He had always looked up to her, but that day cemented his admiration. Watching his mother face the situation with a rare blend of courage and poise gave him a new understanding of resilience. Inspired by his mother's example, he began to explore self-defense classes, not just to learn physical techniques, but to develop the same inner calm and confidence she had shown. Sheila supported his interest, hoping he would gain the same balance of strength and composure she had found through her training. In Maplewood, Sheila's experience sparked larger conversations about justice and accountability. The police department, under pressure from the community, conducted a thorough review of its training and community relations policies. Officer Todd Harling was suspended pending further investigation, and new protocols were introduced to ensure that officers better understood the values of respect, empathy, and fair treatment for all residents. Sheila's story was a reminder to the town's law enforcement and citizens alike that everyone in the community was responsible for fostering an environment of trust and respect. As time passed, Sheila's story became a symbol in Maplewood of resilience and justice. It was a quiet yet powerful testament to the strength that comes from knowing oneself and standing firmly by one's values. Sheila never sought to be a hero, but her courage in that parking lot left an indelible mark on her community. And so, her story continued to inspire, serving as a guiding light for those who would follow, reminding them that even in an imperfect world, justice and compassion are worth standing up for. As Sheila's story continued to circulate, it inspired more than just the townspeople of Maplewood. It became a symbol for people far beyond the town's borders. Community groups in neighboring towns shared her story as a case study in courage, while local schools introduced discussions on resilience, empathy, and self-respect, using Sheila's example to encourage students to think about the strength found in peaceful self-defense and standing up for fairness. In her heart, Sheila remained the same humble, soft-spoken person she'd always been, focused on raising her son with kindness and integrity. Yet her actions had woven an important thread into the fabric of her community, leaving a lasting message that even the smallest acts of courage and dignity can light a path for others, showing that justice is not just a distant ideal, but something people can carry within them, standing up whenever it's needed.